Some people will call you a hater because you have stopped supporting and showing up for those who never support and show up for you. I'm Cassandra Mack, founder of StrategiesForEmpoweredLiving.com and CassandраMackMinistries.com for more information about my company, the ministry, books, merch, or one-to-one coaching. The links are in the video description box. So this video is for those of you who are entrepreneurs. You're pursuing creative endeavors, perhaps. Maybe you are a content creator, a podcaster, a YouTuber, and you are the type of person that you support your friends and family who are entrepreneurs, creatives, and what you find is nobody shows up for you, or the people that you support never show up for you. So it could be a situation where you have someone that throws events, and whether you go to the event or not, you always make sure to purchase a ticket. It could be someone who wrote a book. You went to the book signing, you bought the book. It could be someone who has a barbershop, and you constantly refer people to the barbershop. You even post about the barbershop. Maybe they do hair. You post about that. And when it comes to you, it is crickets. And maybe you are a YouTuber, a podcaster, and you are not doing anything that would go against their brand, right? Like it could be, something that will go against the brand, where you could say, okay, I understand why they can't post about, this particular business because it doesn't align with their brand, right? So like if you're selling weed and they're into ministry, they probably can't post your brand. But let's say that it is, they probably can't post your business, I should say, if you're selling weed legally and, they are into ministry, that's not going to really align with what they're doing, right? And so in a case like that, it might not be that, they don't have love for you, but they can't get behind what you're doing. So with that out of the way, know that there are going to be some people who are going to hate on you because you have decided, you know what, enough is enough. I'm only rocking with those who are rocking with me. I'm going to sow into those who sow into what I'm doing, that it cannot be one-sided. And the crazy thing is you will have people who will reach out to you privately and be like, girl, I see you doing your thing. Dude, you doing your thing. And understand that telling you you're doing your thing privately is not support. Do not confuse that with support. And what it does is it allows the person to hide under the guise of support. Like, yeah, girl, I see you doing your thing. Yeah, dude, I see you doing your thing. But there's never any public endorsement. But you will see them endorsing other people publicly. It is important not to be naive about these things, because you do not want to keep exerting your energy in a direction where you are not reaping a harvest. There are laws to reaping and sowing. And you don't want to keep sowing in a direction where you are not producing fruit. And so if you keep sowing into a relationship where the support is not mutual and reciprocal, then you are sowing into fruitlessness. You are sowing into barren land. And it is important to recognize that, because oftentimes people have misguided loyalty. Just because you went to college together or high school together, grew up on the same block, or your mothers knew each other or fathers knew each other from back in the day, you have to assess the relationship as it is now, not just the history, because people will flip on you, switch on you, and change on you, especially as you are growing and progressing towards your goals. And oftentimes people tend to place you where they met you. And so if a person met you at one stage of life and you are moving past those limits, a lot of times it is hard for people to be able to accept the evolved version of you, because in their mind, you're still that person they met 5 years ago, 10 years ago, they went to college with, high school with, worked on the same job 10 years ago, grew up on the same block, and you have evolved past that. But sometimes people want to place limits and labels on what you can achieve and who you can be. And when you start growing in the things that you are pursuing, you need to pay attention to the people who say that they got your back, who say that they are your friend. They know that you are trying to build something, and you never see their support. They are radio silent, and you have supported them. I want to be very clear. Now, if you've never supported their endeavors, You really can't ask for their support because that's one-sided, right? But if you were the type of person who you supported them, and you see like, boy, they they always want the free hookup. And the bottom line is your business cannot sustain with free hookups. You can't pay your electricity bill with the free hookup. You can't pay your rent or your mortgage with the free hookup. I have never seen people be able to go into a supermarket and buy groceries with you doing your thing, girl. I've never seen that. You can't pay your bills with you doing your thing. You can't pay your bills with that. You can't pay your bills with all the free stuff that you give out. Now, I want to be clear because there is something called bartering, but bartering means that there is a mutual benefit for both parties. But if somebody keeps eating and feeding off of you and benefiting off of you, and you are not benefiting as well, that is not bartering. That is somebody using you. So bartering is, I got the peanut butter, you got the jelly, and they got the bread. So we're bartering. I'm going to share a little of my jelly, you're going to share some of your peanut butter, and they're going to give us 2 slices of bread. So you're bartering. You all eat. But if you're giving away all your jelly and the person with the peanut butter keeps their peanut butter to themselves and you keep sharing your jelly and the person with the bread keeps the bread to themselves or only shares it with the other person, everybody eating but you. How is that sustainable? It is not. And what happens is a lot of times people will allow the people that they know, so-called friends, to guilt them into believing that they have to drain themselves dry to prove that they are a friend. See, when you are growing, not only do you want people who are friends, but you want people who are friends to your purpose and your prosperity. You want people who are friends to your purpose and your prosperity, because as you grow and evolve, and again, this is for those of you who are content creators, who are entrepreneurs, who have creative endeavors. Maybe you make jewelry. Maybe you are an artist. And like I said, you will support in whatever way. And maybe you can't support financially, but you might be the person who one of your friends is an author. And you're like, okay, I'm going to man the table for you. I'm going to come to the book signing and I'm going to support you with labor. So it's not always money, right? You might support with labor. You might support, maybe you have a bigger platform or you just have a platform. It doesn't even have to be a bigger platform. And you support with publicly endorsing them. So quietly going in their DMs saying, I see you doing your thing is not support. I want you to be very clear about that so that you do not allow people to gaslight you into believing that they are supporting you. How can that help you? I see you doing your thing privately. How does it help your business to grow? It cannot. So you need to be very clear. And if you are going to be an entrepreneur, you have to make hard decisions. This is why everyone's not always cut out to be an entrepreneur. And a lot of people say they want to be entrepreneurs, but they treat their business like a hobby. They don't respect their business. And at some point, you have to be very focused with your time, attention, and resource. You can't keep putting your time, attention, and resource into things that have no direct payoff. And, well, you can do whatever you want to do, but it's not sustainable. That's what I'm getting at. You can do whatever you want to do, but it's not sustainable. So I want to talk a little bit about just sowing and reaping, right? And so sowing and reaping is a law of the natural world. When we think about the third day of creation, God commanded the earth to bring forth living plants bearing seed and fruit with seed in it. And these plants were given to man for food. So ever since the beginning, man has understood the process of sowing and reaping and how to apply the laws of sowing and reaping. Sowing and reaping also is spiritual, right? Galatians 6:7 says, do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. And so there are natural consequences to our actions. The world operates under the law of cause and effect. For the effects in our lives, there are causes. There's no way around it. Every time we choose an action, we also, by way of the choice choose the consequences of that action. And so when you have an individual who never shows up for you, never supports anything you do, and you choose to withdraw your support because you do not want to keep sowing into barren land, you are not doing anything mean to them. Do not let somebody gaslight you into believing you're being a hater or you're being mean. You are not. There are natural consequences. And so the natural consequence of refusing to support somebody who keeps supporting you, the natural consequence of using people, is that the person who is on the receiving end of being used, because there's no bartering system there, there's no reciprocity there, it is one-sided, the natural consequence is you're going to be burnt out and tired. And there's only one of you. So you have to be very clear and intentional with where you are going to focus your time and your energy and your resources. And you don't want to keep giving your resources, time, and energy into a relationship where there's no fruit being produced. So you did nothing to them by withdrawing your support. That is the natural consequence of somebody not sowing. So it's important to understand this so that you don't allow people to guilt you, right? This is important. So the farmer must plant in order to see a harvest. And so when you are farming your business, so to speak, or your creative endeavor or your entrepreneurial endeavor, there's going to come a point where you will see the harvest. And when you are helping other people farm their harvest, right? There's going to be a time where they will see a harvest. But if that same person who you keep helping farm their harvest never turns around to help you farm your harvest, you're actually taking time and resources away from your own harvest to farm in somebody else's land, so to speak, where there is no benefit. That doesn't even make sense, logically or spiritually. And again, it's not about money, because support can be labor, right? Support can be somebody volunteering and helping you set up for your big day. Support can be somebody helping you in terms of, I'm going to post the whole week before your big event. I'm going to post it on social media. So support can come in many ways. And again, this is specific to entrepreneurs. So I want to be very clear as to who this video is for, whether you're a content creator, whatever it is. But if people are constantly leaning on you and bleeding your resources, that is not sustainable. That is not sustainable. You're going to have to put some boundaries in place. Otherwise, you are going to be burnt out. So it is your life. It is your entrepreneurial endeavor, your creative endeavor, so you do as you please. But if you want to build something that is sustainable, and there is only one of you to go around, and there are only 24 hours in a day, and you spend a third of that time resting, then you want to come up with a framework that is sustainable for your endeavor. And it may mean evaluating some of those relationships where you are constantly sowing into people who do not sow into you, and making the hard decision to say, I love this individual, I care about them, I wish them the best, and I wish them much success. But I cannot keep taking my seeds and planting them in their field if they refuse to share their seeds with me. It is not an issue of tit for tat. Let's be very clear. It is an issue of understanding the law of reaping and sowing. And so you want to be very clear about that, because we are to multiply our talents. And how can you multiply something you burying in the ground? And if you remember the parable of the talents, where there was a wealthy man who had 3 servants. To one he gave 1 talent. To the other he gave, it escapes me, but it might be 2 or 3. And then to the third he gave 5 talents. And to the one who gave 5 talents, he multiplied, the servant multiplied those talents and came up with 10. To the one he gave the 2 or 3, he multiplied those talents and doubled it. To the one he gave the 1 talent, he buried his talent. And the master dealt with him harshly, the one who buried his talent. And so when you keep sowing into barren land, you're actually burying your talent. You're not even farming the talent that you have. And so it is not about being resentful and angry. It is about coming to the realization that this is not a profitable and prosperous way for me to manage my God-given resources of focus, energy, and time. And so when you understand it from that perspective, you are not mad, you are not hating on the person, you wish them success. You just know that you cannot lend your time, resources, and energy to the building of what they're trying to cultivate when they refuse to build with you. That you are being intentional and God-led about where you give your time and your resources so that you don't squander the very talent that you have on people who don't even respect or appreciate what it is that you do. So be clear. Don't let people gaslight you into believing that because you have come to the realization, it finally hit you like, oh, this person has never supported anything I've done. They share everybody else's stuff. They know what I do. I've even asked, hey, do you mind sharing this? They won't do it. They have never bought whatever it is you do. Maybe you make cookies, I don't know. But they've never bought a book from you. They've never bought a t-shirt from you. They never bought a mug from you. But as soon as they have some, hey, could you buy these $25 tickets? Can you do, no more. No, it stops. I need to take that $25 and invest it in my business or invest it in an individual where there is mutual support because we are sowing into each other. And so understand, and Galatians 6 and 7, do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. And so understand that you are not punishing, you are not hating. Now they may decide to spin the narrative that way, but that's not your problem. You can't control that. They are simply reaping what they've sown. So if they sow nothing into your life, but girl, I see you doing your thing, or dude, I see you doing your thing privately. If they've sown nothing into what you're trying to build, they are reaping the nothingness of what they've sown. That is nothing that you were doing to them. They are reaping what they've sown. It's important to understand this because many people allow people to manipulate them because they are not clear and intentional and they don't have a clear understanding of the Word of God. So when you understand that, you understand that your time is a resource to be managed. It's a gift. And you can't squander that. You can't squander that. You got to be intentional with that. So I hope you found this helpful for those of you that you have an individual who's talking smack about you because you stopped buying tickets to their events. You stopped giving them free products and services. You stopped consulting with them on how to do their business. They don't want to pay you $25 for a consultation, but they're going to pay somebody else, a stranger, $500. Maybe you have a landscaping business and they want you to do it for free or next to nothing. And you have a mortgage, so you can't work for free, or you're paying rent, but they will give a complete stranger their asking price, but they want to eat off of your plate without sharing their plate. It got to be mutual. It's reaping and sowing, not just reaping. So you will have people be like, oh, she hating on me because I asked her to help me do A, B, and C, and she quoted me a price. Or I asked her, to give me the hookup with the t-shirt, and she was like, I can't do it. I asked him to come do my roofing job at cost, and he was like, I can't. You're like, I can't do it at cost. I have to make a profit because I have to pay these bills. I got kids. I got this. I got that. You got stuff going on too. Or she's a hater because she don't want to sit with me for an hour and go through my business plan. When that's what you do for a living. You are a consultant and you consult with people about their business, and everybody can't call you for free. You can't run a business that way. So there will be people who will feel you're hating on them. Don't sweat it. Don't lose a wink of sleep over it. They've done you a favor because now you know what it is. There will be people who will talk about you. Don't sweat that. They've done you a favor too. Because the fact that they're talking about you, you now know where you stand with them. And it makes your come out from among them game even stronger. Because now you can start clipping away. You can start pruning what needs to be pruned so you can cultivate your garden, so to speak. So with that being said, I want to share 2 resources that will really help you just to move forward in your success. So one is Unleash Your Unstoppable, and that is a book that bridges the gap between prayers and that bridges the gap between scriptures and practical application. So it is a book to really help us all transform our lives for victorious living. That's Unleash Your Unstoppable. Then the second book that I think would be a really helpful resource if you want to dive deeper into just, preparing yourself with the mindset of success so that you don't allow people to manipulate you, period, is Your Success Starts Now. And that is a book of over 30 success principles that also has questions to pause and ask yourself. It's like you got to work through the questions. And then there are also action steps for each success principle. So each success principle comes with questions that you got to go through so that you can reflect on that particular principle of how you're going to apply it to your life. And then there are action steps to actually apply the principle to your life. So all of my books are available at Amazon, some at Barnes and Nobles, and some are available at Walmart. So those are some resources that you will find helpful. I would also encourage you to join the YouTube channel. And so with channel membership, there are additional perks. There are private videos that are only available for members. The vintage videos only available for members. There are lots of different things. And so when you click on the join button on any of the videos, you'll see the different things that come with the 3 tiers of membership if you decide that you would like to become a member of this channel. And so with that being said, have an amazing day. Take care of yourself and each other, and be a blessing wherever you go.